There we go. All right. So again, for the video, we're going over TouchPix. I will say that this is going to be based on how we utilize TouchPix. There are so many things that I can go through or whatever, but this is just going to kind of highlight how we utilize the software. And starting with the benefits of TouchPix for us. Firstly, organization. This software allows us to kind of keep a database of all of the galleries for up to 1 year. And so when we first started, there was nothing really like that was cost efficient. And so this allows us to house all these galleries for up to 1 year. Clients can go back and download their galleries. The overlays were another big thing when the 360 video booth kind of took win. Putting custom overlays on videos was like super high. It's oddly starting to turn away now. Like people are not always clamoring for overlays, at least not at the rate they used to, but we can do that within TouchPix, edit whatever we want in whatever software we want. We don't have to edit specifically in the app itself. We can edit, on some other outside means and then import it into TouchPix, which not all softwares have that capability. Some of them make you edit within the software, and some of them just make it a really difficult process to actually get the overlays onto the software. Um, and then some of them have a complicated process of actually applying the overlays on site. But TouchPix was seamless in that regard. Um, and then thirdly, sharing, on-site sharing, in addition to sharing the galleries in general. I mentioned earlier with the organization, we're able to organize the gallery split and sharing on site. TouchPix was honestly kind of first in creating the process from phone to iPad, starting with PC base. But when I first started researching everything, they were kind of pioneering that. And to my last point, support in their pioneering everything, they were very transparent with how they were going about, updates and everything. So there's plenty of going back, 2 or 3. There's plenty of like YouTube tutorials and things online that you can go on either their website or their Instagrams or Twitters or YouTube, whatever, to get answers to questions that are critical for what we do. So for those reasons, in addition to also you could put some effects and things like that on videos through the software. We seldomly ever do that, but I'm not a fan of that, but you can. And so all of that being one software was kind of like a godsend, especially for, I think in the beginning we were only paying like $10 a month or something like that. Um, I can't even remember, but it was fairly inexpensive. And so for those reasons, we went with TouchPix. Um, Moving on through the workflow of TouchPix, you're going to see this screen throughout the presentation. So if you want to screenshot it or whatever, it's kind of like a quick clip note of all the things to consider when working through an event using TouchPix. And so we're going to start with number one, which is gathering information. Um, so when you're gathering information from clients, these are kind of the big details that you need to have. We don't need to know when the makeup artist is going to show up for the bride, or we don't need to know, maybe you do need to have some information in terms of like loading in, right? Like outside of the software or things that are unrelated to the software, we want to know load in and location, and is it flattened? Are we outside, inside, that kind of thing. But as it relates to the software, the names of the client and the name of the event is critical, because obviously that's going to coincide with the overlay, and then the design, obviously, of the overlay. And so if it's a corporate event, usually they want their logo on everything for marketing. That's something that we really sell a lot. And then the copy or text, any text that they want on the overlay, a hashtag for a wedding or a slogan for a company, and then a color theme based on the event or the company, and then orientation. This is something I've had to remind myself in the last like 4 or 5 months of like asking people when I talk to them on the phone, especially since Marie does more to talking to people on the phone. I kind of forgot to ask that question. So then we'll end up, the day of trying to reconfigure the orientation. most people, we're going to get more portraits than anything because of Instagram and TikTok, right? But on occasion, I just did one, and then the Pride Fest this past weekend was supposed to be a landscape event. But that's critical because also, quick side note, if we were going to do a camera integration, which I'm working on, being able to shoot with a small DSLR camera, shoot all the clips with this camera to give us some better footage and apply the overlays to this footage, it's likely going to look better landscape. The only reason, or one big reason, this is kind of a side note from the presentation, one big reason I haven't actually pushed for this, because we could have been doing this about a year ago, is because there just wasn't a seamless process through TouchPix or anybody that I could find to integrate the camera in and it'd be a quick process for everybody in training. It was just always some kind of complication getting the right cable or whatever. So once that's worked out, we'll get that. But it'll likely work better with the camera, especially when we consider how we mount the camera uh, in landscape orientation. Um, Really quickly, wanted to ask y'all well, I guess the answer is kind of right there, but um, just want you to consider this scenario. So you're at an event and the phone just TouchPix and just stops working. Rashad, has this happened to you before? I feel like this happened to you. Um,
Yeah,
but
it has.
cool. So Rashad is a IT and all things tech software guru anyway. So he was able to like probably in 3 seconds critical think and like reinvent all of TouchPix to work for him the way he wanted it to. But for me, when this first happened at an event, it was like, what the F? And TouchPix's answer in the forums and everything was turn the phone off, like hard reboots essentially, or, delete the app and re-download the app. Well, if we're all the way at the Springs and McKinney, in the middle of the boonies and we don't have good Wi-Fi, then that could be troublesome. Jaleesa, I think you guys dealt with this a little bit in Godly when you had that event way out there. It's just some similar to this, but in the event that TouchPix is not working, there are some kind of like quick tips or things to do first. Obviously, restarting the phone is going to be the quickest because we use iPhones. So within 3 to 4 minutes, you should be able to kind of turn the phone off, turn it back on, and pull TouchPix back up. Uh, the biggest one that I found to be kind of the answer in 80% of the situations where there's an issue. Um, I learned this about 4 months ago. TouchPix is just constantly throwing out updates for the app, like dang near weekly at this point. So I know you guys don't deal with putting the events on the phones and things like that anyway. I'll just pick everything up, but something to know when you're picking it up and just kind of having the back of your mind as you're setting up. There might be an update depending on the day of the week, especially if you're doing like a Tuesday event or Thursday event, like something might have actually like an update might have just come up. So I usually, before I give y'all the equipment, I usually make sure that everything is updated. But it's a good idea to just check and make sure that the app is up to date, and you can do that in the App Store. Jaleesa, I know you are a Droid user, so if we need to go through how to um, how to do that, we can. Um, Actually, I'm just going to do that now. So I'm going to share a new share really quickly. Can you guys see my iPhone by chance?
Yep.
Okay, so we're looking at TouchPix. Oh, well, we have to activate an event. Great. Um, well, no, we don't. All right. So on the iPhone, if you go to the actual App Store, just type in App Store. You don't even have to go through like searching for TouchPix or whatever. If you just click on the little icon up at the top, this is my personal phone, but for us, it'll be a D up there for a DFW 360 boost. And just go to purchased. It'll show all the apps that have been purchased, right? And so you'll just go and find TouchPix. And usually, if there's an update due, let me see if there we go. If there's an update due where it says open, usually it'll say update. But even if you click on it and kind of open it, instead of open right there, it'll say update. And so I always advise just kind of checking that out on the phone and on the iPad, um, just to be on the safe side.
One quick thing I'll throw out that I ran into as well, and it's maybe for you, Sergey or Marie, is making sure that the phones don't have password locks on them because like that'll be that makes it basically unless we have the password, we can't update it. So
Yeah.
um and I think at one point you took them all off, but I don't know if it still requires a password for downloading apps. So just one other thing to mention.
Yeah. Great point. I think it was 87. That phone, I accidentally upgraded the iOS on it or whatever. Um, and so I think after that somehow the like I know oh never mind, it was the energy saver mode where like the screen will go off, which later on in the presentation I'll explain why that's frustrating. But no, very good point to make sure that all the phones have no password lock on it. And then worst case scenario, if for whatever reason TouchPix, you go to, and that's not a bad idea by the way, to like follow TouchPix on Instagram, um, just to kind of see if there's a lot of noise. I'm in the Facebook group as well. If there's a lot of why is the character's thumbs backwards? I'm so bad at that. Anyway, if you go in the forum because you're at a gig and something's going on, sometimes you jump in the forum and everybody's complaining. That's only happened to me once. If TouchPix is down, worst case scenario, then we'll end up just literally recording a video from the phone, from the iPhone, and then airdropping it to the client. Or, of course, we can't put overlays and stuff on it, but that is like absolute worst case scenario. What we can't do is pack up and go home. I've watched another company, I won't say who, but another company who we're affiliated with. We were at the same event, and when things went south, they just packed up and went. Well, in all fairness, their equipment broke, but that is like that. We got to be able to critically think and get around that, and so that's why I want to share that with y'all. Downloading a different software is not an option just because you may not be, unless you are extremely familiar with Snappic, or like another software that's like you have no problem downloading that and keeping the show going, sure. But I would imagine that's going to cost you at least 30 minutes of the event, which we will end up having to pay back. So let's avoid that. So far, TouchPix in the last year or two have been working great for us. And so, great. Jaleesa, you still there?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving on to how to create the event. 2, 3, and 4 are going to be really, really critical. Jaleesa, I can't see you, but I just want to make sure that everybody is actually paying attention because these are going to be super critical.
Yep.
Creating the event, you guys don't actually do, but I wanted to show you how to do this just in case you have to for whatever reason. So I'm going to share my phone screen again, or I'm just going to share my regular screen. I should already be able to show you guys. Can you see like my regular screen, or is it still showing you guys a presentation? What do you got? What do you guys see?
I was on mute. Sorry. We can see your browser.
Okay, perfect. All right. So to actually set up an event, you're going to go to TouchPix, right? And you will log in. Again, I know you guys don't have my login. That's totally fine. I'm just walking you guys through it. Some of us, Vanessa, I know, has aspirations to own a company herself. So this was something I was looking forward to showing her. So she might have this idea, But anyway, you can go up to create an event up at the top. And what I'm going to do here, I'll just walk through it. Okay, so start from top to bottom. You're going to name your event, which is why gathering information, like I said before, is very important. In this case, I'm just going to type in testosterone. And then you're going to give us information. Now, countdown, obviously, should be 5 seconds. That's what we always count down. This beep sound is what's playing from the phone. It helps. You can't really hear it in like a loud party. Oh, Vanessa, you came right on time. But can't really hear it at like a loud party, but it does help. We're probably going to start integrating like small Bluetooth speakers because people have complained about like there's no music. Like if we're out in the foyer, we're away from where all the music is happening. So if we integrate that speaker to our setup, then it'll help. You'll hear the beeps of the countdown. Mirror overlay preview, always enable that. It's just going to give a true representation of what the overlay is going to look like over the video. For the rear camera, we are using the rear camera. That is the back camera on the back. It is way better than the one on the front. So we're always using that. Camera exposure menu. That was actually supposed to be one of the questions on the icebreaker. But there's a little plus minus that shows up on the home screen. And whenever we create an event or put this event on the phone, because we are going to walk through that side of the process, I'll show you guys what that is, because it's actually very important. And it helps. It's a big part of like what we do as DFW 360 Boost. When it comes to printing, just always go no printing. We're not printing anything. It's a video. So just put no printing there. Now, functions, photos we're not taking. Boomerangs, yes, we are taking, but this is not the setting that you want to use. And I'll show you why in a second. We're not taking GIFs. We are taking videos, but you just want to have it on slow-mo. So when you select slow-mo, I don't know if you guys notice, whenever you push that button on the phone to start a session, it says slow-mo right there. For whatever reason, their programming and everything is still just centered on slow-mo. I guess the whole concept of TOUCHPIX is start fast, slow-mo section of the video, and then now, the reason we didn't do boomerang is because we have the option to slow-mo boomerang here underneath the slow-mo section. So always have that checkbox, because that's just a part of what we do. The slow-mo recording time is obviously how long it's going to slow-mo during that recording, right? Now, this will increase the total amount of time of the video, the final product that they get on, on the phone. I always leave this at 4 because that produces a 17-second video. And that's important because if we're going to add an audio file, we have to create that audio clip most of the time. Or a client might ask, how long does the clip need to be? Vanessa, Jaleesa, I have y'all here. Okay, cool. So if they want to know how long that audio clip is, we just keep this at 4 so that it's 17 seconds, and we can always create 17-second clips. Screen flash, we never enable because quite honestly, it's not going to help anything. It's like using the stock flash on top of a DSLR camera. Now, in the timeout section, the only thing we're really worried about is the sharing. And I usually set this to 10 seconds. What this is doing is setting the amount of time that it's going to share on the phone, on the spinner, right? Before it just automatically goes to the home screen. On editing, we don't give digital editing to any other guests. For the thanks, we don't need to see that from the phone because it's going to stay on the spinner. And for the props, we will absolutely never do digital props. So those 3 will all be 0. Sharing, just to put it plainly, we offer emailing. We don't do Facebook because that would take forever for them to type in their Facebook logins, blah, 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 at the sharing station. We do text. We don't do Twitter for the same reason that we don't do Facebook. We don't do the copying because that would be useless to them. Download, airdrop, QR code, we always keep on in general. WhatsApp, we don't do either. And so I just keep these 6 checked unless I don't want to do the email and text. I'm starting to go away from email because when we tell people, yes, emailing you, if they don't have good Wi-Fi wherever they are or whatever, it ends up being hecka slow. Then they come back to the booth, interrupting the session, saying, oh, I didn't get mine yet. And so 2 things we'll talk about. Well, I'll go ahead and mention it now. Emailing and text are going from the iPad. So for this reason, I know me, Marie, and Rashad have had discussions about keeping the Wi-Fi off certain devices. For this reason, we should keep Wi-Fi when we can, keep it connected to the iPad, the sharing station, because the email and the text are going from the iPad, not the phone. And so if we're going to email or text, I've learned from literally last Friday or whatever at an event, people weren't getting their emails or their text messages because the Wi-Fi wasn't connected to the iPad. So that's that. Edit screen, again, we're never going to allow them to edit their videos on site. They can do that on their own time on their devices. The in-app gallery, and this is a very important term. In-app means on the phone, on the app that's actually servicing the event, right? So we do want that on the phone. And the reason we want that is because it's a backup in case the iPad sharing station is quacked out. Here, you can select what you want your email subject to say, the body, and all of that stuff. That's all these text boxes are. It's just what does the text say whenever we send it out via email or text. So usually I customize that somehow here. Usually I put like our website information, or review link, or something like that. Again, props, face props, we don't do that. I try to stay away from all the extra goofy stuff as much as possible, because again, quality is our brand. And sometimes less is more. App name. So it says app name, but this is really our company name. So I usually always put DFW 360 booths in here. Vanessa, whenever you get your company going, that's what you're gonna put that there. If you decide to use TOUCHPIX, and then your app logo, and this is showing on the actual gallery of the iPad as well. So you'll notice that at the top in our galleries. A track screen is just kind of what's showing on the iPad screen whenever the gallery is not showing. So I think it's every like 4 minutes or something like that. If no one's using the gallery, and you can design this. I've done this once or twice. Design it to the event. But I found that actually kind of confuses people, because it shows in the foreground. So like the gallery stops showing and it just shows it's a track screen. Maybe you can put something that says tap here on it, so that people know tap here to open the gallery. But honestly, it's probably better just to keep the gallery open, because from afar, people don't know what's going on. Then the background of the gallery, if you want it to match the theme of the wedding, you can do that. We, for the most part, just keep a black back screen. No one is complimenting or caring about the gallery. So I just kind of stopped doing that because it's a waste of time. Same thing with the web gallery background. The difference between again, you're going to see a lot of app versus web. App means on the actual phone that's shooting the videos. So in that app gallery, the background, and then on the web means on TOUCHPIX. Shoot, where is it at? Oh, I'm in TOUCHPIX. Duplicate this real quick. So if I were looking at an events gallery, this is one of our previous events. You'll see it's all gray in the back. This is the one I just did Friday, right? It's just all, dark gray in the back. But if I wanted that to be, the Bear Creek Dentistry logo, or, the colors of it or whatever, I can design that. That's what that is. Oh, shoot, let me get this out of my way. I hate when the little videos from Zoom get like stuck in the way of what I'm trying to do. There we go. All right. So that's the branding side of things. Triggers. Now, this might interest you, Rashad, because you're into these kind of techie things or whatever. But like when they first rolled out the triggers, I tried it, and I'm just like, if it's not super efficient from jump, I don't fool with it until I know for a fact like it is tried and true. So the triggers, they have like motion trigger where you don't have to touch the phone at all. You just pretty much start with the key fob. The whole idea was like, hey, we start the key fob and the phone will detect, oh shoot, I'm moving, let me start recording. I'm not a fan of that. It didn't work very efficiently when I first started it, but that's what that is. And then lastly, this is an external screen section, is how we cast to the TVs, the live view TVs. So you have two options: an external screen session, which just means we're casting everything that's on the phone to show on the TV, or we are running a slideshow, so all the videos from the night are showing on the TV.
Is there a reason why you have to do one or the other, why you can't do both?
Yeah, TOUCHPIX just hasn't enabled the ability to do both. I think that would be super dope for it to just be showing a slideshow, and then when a session starts, it starts the live view. But
right.
Honestly, I think there's just a working out of how to do that, because it's all being done by way of mirroring to
To another device. Yeah, okay, I got you. I got you.
So it's just screen mirroring from phone to Apple TV. Let's see, QR carousel is just at the bottom of the screen, regardless of what kind of session you choose. There's like a carousel of QR codes at the very bottom so that people can use the TV screen as another method of sharing. Me and Rashad got into a crunch at the what was that, the not Bomb Factory, the factory in Deep Ellum or whatever, and there was 3,000 people there and we had 2 TVs up, so we definitely used one of the TVs as like an additional sharing option. And then slide time is just a time in between TVs. So once you agree to all these terms, right, you can submit and it will start. It will set your event up. I want to make sure that all the things that must be selected are selected. Cool. So we got a testimony. Oh, we got to put in the country now. That's new. All right. So we have our test event. Once you do that, it's going to give you a QR code. Now, this is important. I usually always take a picture of it with my phone from here, but you can always access it through your events page in the TouchPIX tab. Dang, time flew. Goodness. All right, so I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this really quickly, and then we're going to move back to our presentation. So that QR code, once you have it, you're going to have that on the phone, and you might have noticed most of the time when you guys go out for an event, I'll text you a random QR code. Well, that's the QR code to the event, just in case you have to actually use it to reactivate the event. All right, so we just went through creating the event, walk through all of that. Next question, if the sharing station is slow, you got option 1. You can have guests type their email address into a note on the iPad, and then just tell them we'll email them later. Or you can abandon the station, the sharing station altogether, and just share directly from the phone. Dang, what's good, big dog?
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. So we're recording this, so Marie can get this out. What were you finna say, Marie?
Nothing. I was just saying how damn. Okay, so 100% sure they won't be able to put their email on it in and out the event. Because like I can always just give a disclaimer like, hey, the venue's Wi-Fi is running slow. It may be a few days before you get your video, so that we're not having to swipe back and forth between apps.
Yeah, so here's what I do, and what I'm proposing here is going with option 2. When I say abandon the sharing station, I don't mean like pack it up and everything. You can still leave it out there and let it try to sync. Maybe turn on online sync. And we just bumped into this, Dante and I, at the Magic Mike event. 400 people outside. We're running 2 sharing stations. One of them has 68 videos. It's pretty much caught up. There's 74 on the phone, 68 on one iPad, and the other iPad only has like 30. Well, somebody here might have shot a video earlier. They just want to come back and airdrop it to themselves. Well, fine, just leave the iPads out for that kind of thing. But in terms of if you have a line, in terms of efficiency, abandon the whole process of leading them to the sharing station if you know that this video is going to take 7 days to get from this phone to the iPad, right? If it slows down to that point, just go ahead and share it to right from the phone on the booth. This is why we usually now set the clip to have the screen facing us and be completely open, so that we don't have to keep removing the phone from the clip, and we can just airdrop it. What I've even done, especially when it's a group, let's say it's a group of 6, I'll say, hey, one of you take off your phone, and if you could share it with the rest of your group, that would really help us out. Thank you so much. And that's usually fine. Most of the time, they're trying to be quick anyway. So they're like, oh, I'll share it with her, kind of thing. Some people actually don't like us touching their phones either, but anyway. So I would say, you can leave the sharing station open, just for efficiency's sake and keeping the flow of the event going and not having this long jammed up line. Just go ahead and run the session, share it right after, and then get the next person in and off. That makes sense? Where. All right. So moving forward through the workflow, I want to talk really quickly about prep. And I do want to honor you guys' time. So at 7, if you got to dip off, I understand, but I want to make sure I at least get through 2, 3, and 4. Those are kind of the big joints today. But prep, charging the iPhone is obviously essential. And then when it comes to activating the event, I'm going to walk you through how to do that on the phone. We just got the QR code right from the test that we just put together. Then I want to walk through the settings. This is the most essential part of the presentation today, the meeting today, and then updates. We already talked about updates. For those of you who weren't here, it's going to be very important just to kind of look at your phone and your iPad and see if TouchPIX needs to be updated, because they've had a habit over the last 6 months of just like doing a weekly update. It seems like just bug fixes or this new feature or whatever. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to activate an event on a phone. So before I switch to my phone, I'm going to show you guys, this is the QR code that was created on the test that we just created, right? So I'm now going to do a new share so you guys can see my phone. And we'll just look at TouchPIX. Let me get a thumbs up when y'all can see my phone screen. Perfect. All right, Jaleesa, you still there?
Yep.
Virtual thumbs up. All right, so this is what you'll see when you download the TouchPIX app. If you don't have a subscription, you'll need to take care of your subscription. If you got one of our phones, the subscription, we just buy annual plan, so you'll have that should be set. If it's saying that it's not, then you definitely want to go ahead and call me, or you can just click on a subscription here and then just say restore purchase. And usually, my iCloud account and everything is logged in to the phones, and so it'll restore that purchase. So yeah, I keep clicking anyway. All right, so from here, this is the phone. I just want to reiterate that we're doing the event from the phone. It's a little bit different from the sharing station, but we're starting with the phone. You're going to activate event, and then you're going to click activate. Again, 3 choices: test, if you just want to try it out, sharing station, and activate. We're activating the phone. Then it's going to ask you to scan a QR code. So I'm going to pull up that QR and I'm going to scan it. And you'll see that screen kind of goes green when you scan the QR code, and it's going to pop up your test event, right? And so now we're here, we got our test, our event going. And now I want to walk through, oh, that's dope. I can actually do this way. All right. So now I want to walk through, now that we activated the event, I want to walk through the settings. All right. So the settings are located, this waffle or the hamburger up at the top left-hand corner. It's going to give you your event number. It's going to give you your event name. So you'll see test testimony up at the top. And then settings is the first option, right? And there are 12 pages. We don't have to go through all 12 because they don't all apply to what we're doing, but this first one absolutely does. Live view BG stands for live view background. We always keep that on. If we don't have a live view background, when we go back, it's just showing this colorful explosion, but we want to see what we're actually shooting so that we have an idea of what our image is going to come out like, right? So now that I've selected live background, you can now see, the live.
I'm not sure if it's anybody else, but the screen hasn't changed for me. The only thing I see is like if you click on the hamburger bar at it, nothing changed on the screen.
Yeah, it's the same for me.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
It might be frozen or something.
Okay, so do you guys see the test from the screen?
You just see the normal screen. Oh, well, that went away.
Yeah, I
No,
just
we just
be sharing. Okay. So
Okay,
Okay,
there we
yeah,
go.
now when I click the hamburger, does it show?
Yeah.
yep.
Perfect. All right, so settings is here at the top, and this is the live background here. Countdown we set already on the website, but in the beginning, this stuff would change, and it was kind of frustrating. But this is what I'm going through before you guys get all your information or get all your gear. So just make sure countdown is set to 5, right? 5-second countdown. You can skip the countdown photos, the GIF photos, and the animation GIF because we're not doing GIFs at all. The slow-mo recording time, we set that to 4, and that's going to produce our 17-second video. Now, this is a very big one to what we do, where it says apply compress, that's short for apply compression. And what that is doing is compressing the video file, which then in turn degrades our video quality from the phone. And so I always turn that off. Always. I used to have it on ultra high quality. Applying a compression will make a smaller file, but it won't be as high quality, right? But it will share quicker. If we have good enough Wi-Fi and we have a good enough system and workflow, this usually doesn't matter. We're still able to share uncompressed files, which we want people walking away with the best image possible. So I almost always turn that compression off. Custom size, you don't have to worry about. Network speed test, you don't have to worry about. I'm pretty sure Rashad might have interest in testing that out. You know, go for it if you got time. But beep sounds, you can keep that on. Audio and device. Now, this is something that they just incorporated and I haven't walked through yet, but this is supposed to be a part of a new jukebox setting where they're trying to allow guests to pick which song clip is going to be applied to their song. So they go and they shoot a session and then they get like 3 song choices, you know, Genuine Pony, Cisco Thong Song, or, you know, Praise Is What I Do. And they can pick, you know, between the 3 and then, you know, go from there. But I haven't played with that, so I just leave that off. QR security, I leave off. Pretty much everything else on this page, I leave off. The big deals that you're going to be worried about here is that compression and that live view. And then your countdown, you can kind of toggle based on your preference. I know some of you like to start at 3, 2, 1 or whatever. I'm not really tripping on how you like to count down. That's fine. Printer, just make sure this says none because we're not printing anything. Sharing box, we don't have a sharing box. We use sharing stations, so you can skip that. Camera. Now, for my photographers, this is where you might have some interest in, like, you know, getting a little crazy. Can you guys still see my screen? Thumbs up. Perf. All right.
Yep.
So obviously there are 4 options for camera sources. Like I said before, there is an option for DSLR to connect to DSLR. I've tried it a couple of times. Actually with this little camera over here, and it's been janky. It's not reliable. So we use the rear camera again, like you see here. If I switch it to the front, then y'all get, you know, my ugly mug, but this is not as good a camera as the rear camera. So these settings allow you to switch between wide or ultra wide or telephoto. Telephoto is brand new. Please don't ever do that because it's going to give like a super zoomed in, you know, we don't want that. Ultra wide is kind of like full body. So it's going to show like the booth at the bottom, their feet, their shoes. And I'm sure all of y'all who've done a 360 booth, you've been asked by some woman, is he going to show my feet? So, you know, this is how you can toggle that. If you're doing an Air, you're probably fine doing an ultra wide. If you're doing an XL, you're probably fine doing just or if you do an XL and you do a wide, it's going to really just show pretty much like face and torso. Because if 6 people are on the booth, someone had a question in the chat. It looks like network.
Oh no, that was just a comment for me. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so that's the big one on the camera is the lens type. I usually always just go ultra wide unless I just have a ton of space to where I can get a really good shot with wide. That's how you can toggle that. Everything else, slow-mo speed, you always want that to be at 120 frames per second. And then stabilization mode, I've tried cinematic and standard. Quite honestly, I don't see much of a difference. So I just rock with cinematic. And then this was supposed to be one of the questions on the icebreaker we did earlier. This exposure icon, you'll see that plus minus icon, right? You should see one of those on the home screen, right? Right here at the bottom right-hand corner. And when you tap that button, you'll see that bar comes up. This is critical to what we do. You'll notice if I point, we have lights all the way around the booth, right? And this is an example, that ring light there. If I slide that slider all the way up, you'll see my view kind of gets like fuzzy looking, right? if we don't have a very well exposed space. But when we have a lot of light, we can go ahead and kill this. Like this is like pretty much ISO or exposure. I always turn this all the way down because we have 6 tube lights around. And even with the 4 LED ones and the ring light, it's enough for us to turn this all the way down. What this does is sharpen our image, as you can see here. Things aren't as fuzzy and grainy as the previous image. And so I almost always turn that down. Not almost, I'll always turn that down. Oops, I hit the wrong button, sorry. Settings. All right, moving on from cameras. Most of the stuff from here is not going to really apply to y'all because photo effects we don't put on. Video effects, we do put audio clips in here. And to do that, you can just add an effect, click audio. Once you do that, you can click on audio, choose your file. But there's a whole process of like putting the file onto the phone and then choosing that file from here. And so here's one from, you know, some event or whatever. And now that that's in there, that's going to play in the background of whatever video we play, right? Or we capture, sorry. Monochrome is actually an example of one of the effects. I was kind of playing with it. TV session is important if we're going to have a TV. If we're not going to have a TV, turn all this off. It don't even really much matter, right? If we are going to have a TV, turn TV session on. If your TV session is, or your TV is vertical, we're shooting everything portrait, turn your vertical TV on. What this is going to do, and you'll have to wait till you cast to see if you need to orientate right or not. Usually you do. This just rotates the view so that when we play back on the TV, it's going to play upright. Short replay is just if you know you're backed up, you got a long line or whatever, you're just going to shorten that replay, or usually just kind of cuts it out before it really starts, or you can shorten it or skip it. Live view is what you want. This is the live view of the camera shooting. So as the camera is spinning, it is showing that on the TV. And even prior to, like when it's doing the countdown, it's showing a live view of what the camera shows. Now, you'll notice if you click slideshow, live view turns off, to Rashad's point earlier. It sucks, but they haven't really figured out how to integrate both of those together yet. So if we bump into a situation where the live view is really slow, it's not communicating well, we've seen that before, go ahead and kill the live view and just show slideshows because people love that too. But you know, usually the live view is fine. Oh, one big thing about live view really quickly is it does slow down the workflow because whenever you shoot a video, it sends from the phone to the TV to play back the video, and then it shoots to the sharing station. If you have a line and you need to start getting people through, like I said, go ahead and shoot to a slideshow and get through your sessions. Because what you don't want is for our client to lose time with their guests being on the booth because we're waiting on the live view. Pretty much the rest of this, the photo carousel is kind of the same as the QR carousel. It shows at the bottom, a little small photo thumbnail. Or you can hide it in the session. If you're gonna have the carousel, you can hide the photo carousel while the camera is actually shooting the session. I usually leave those off. Play gallery on TV. It's pretty much the same as slideshow, but it just kind of runs through the whole gallery of the night instead of, I guess, being at random. Company logo puts our logo up at the top, but it doesn't look good, so I just leave that off. And then animations are just like these animations that say, good job, thank you, you know, that kind of thing. I leave those off because quite honestly, they're all whack looking. So again, this is a less is more situation. Now, when we get custom animations, which I can have designed, but quite honestly, it's not worth it because it's another thing that slows down production. People are waiting to get their videos. So yeah, that is the TV section or session page. Did anyone have any questions real quickly about that before I move forward? Because it is a pretty big one.
Negative.
Cool. All right. Triggers, number 8. Don't even worry about it. Just make sure these all say nothing because we don't use triggers at all. But to quickly explain what it is, I think I mentioned it earlier. TouchPix and OrcaView have like a system where if you turn this motion trigger on, the camera, TouchPix just kind of detects, oh shoot, the camera's moving, let me start recording a session. The timeout session, this is after a video has been recorded, how long it's going to share, how long you're going to give people to edit their video, how long is the thank you and the props and all of that going to pop up on your screen. Everything but sharing needs to be 0. Sharing can be 10 seconds. This is just what's going to show on the phone. Bluetooth, again, leave that default, leave everything checked off because we're not doing anything with Bluetooth. ScanPix is another one of those deals where TouchPix tried something and it just wasn't efficient in the beginning. But this is essentially their solution to not having internet, where we can create our own server and guests can scan one QR code to add themselves to our server and then scan another QR code to get their video. Honestly, I felt like it adds time to the process of sharing. I haven't worked through a good or efficient workflow using ScanPix. So I just make sure that that's all turned off and I move on. 12, the last page, is cloud sharing. I do have a Dropbox for the company, so I usually keep Dropbox on. And what this does is send a clip. It's not, it doesn't have the overlay and all that. It just sends the original clip of each session to Dropbox once we close the event. So now I'm going through the whole video because I know we're losing time, or going through the whole settings menu. I do want to go through a couple other things. So really quickly, just to make sure I'm at the right point. Baby, come back. Where's my presentation? There we go. We're going to talk a little bit about execution. Sharing station. We're all familiar with the 2 different methods of sharing, but I want to show you guys. I mentioned it earlier. I don't know if all of you heard it, but I recently discovered kind of what the differences are between the receiver sender and the online sync. So on your sharing station, we're not going to go through the whole process of like sharing, because I know for a fact all of you know how to do that. But I am going to show you from the phone's perspective that in-app gallery. So can you guys all see that screen? Thumbs up. Okay, cool. So in your iPhone and on your iPad, you'll have a gallery here. And in the iPhone, you should always have that set to sender. And then when you go to sender, it'll ask you connect to. Once your iPad is turned on, you'll see the name of the iPad there and you'll click on it. And this S will turn green. And then on your iPad, this same gallery page, you'll see an R. As long as that R is there, that will turn green. That is essentially a Bluetooth transfer with no live view TV or anything, in good proximity between the booth and the sharing station. As long as you're not putting the sharing station 20 feet away, you should have a pretty seamless transfer from the phone to the iPad. And so again, having sender green, receiver green, you should be fine. Now, I have, in my last year or 2 of doing this, I have only had a handful of events where just randomly, or where this didn't disconnect. For whatever reason, just ever so often, it'll just stop sending. Like the sender will just turn off. And I do not know why. I've wrote and complained and even considered leaving TouchPix for this reason, but it's very simple, honestly, to turn the sender and receiver back on, especially when there are 2 of you. And in the case of a large event, there's going to be more than 200 people at an event, likely 2 of you are going for this reason, to make sure that we always have active sharing between the iPhone and the iPad. But that is how you use the first method, the sender receiver, the Bluetooth method, essentially. No Wi-Fi required. The second method you'll see here on both the iPhone and the iPad, you'll see this online sync button. So I just click that. Just to quickly explain what that is, there's a difference between your app gallery and your web gallery. Your app gallery means everything that is in this phone that's on the app that's actually recording the session. So I'm actually going to just quickly record a quick video of us. Y'all chunk up the news for the North and the South. right, cool. So it's going through that. Into my, oh, well, yeah, this is my personal phone. So I am on Wi-Fi. So this should actually be way quicker than this, but it might have something to do with being connected to the TV. Talent acquisition and sourcing. So the effect that I applied and the audio that I applied earlier in the effects settings is on the video. And so it just played back, right? And after it stops playing back, after 10 seconds, because in our settings, we set it to 10 seconds, this screen is just going to go away. It's going to go back to the home screen. And that's what just happened. But now you go back to the gallery, and in the app, there's one total video, right? But on the web, meaning on touchpix.com, in the gallery, this video hasn't been uploaded yet, right? Unless this phone is connected to Wi-Fi. If this phone is connected to Wi-Fi, it's usually in the background sending the videos up, and you can always check that in the queue. And so if you go to settings and go to queue, we'll touch on this briefly, but it's green, which means you'll see up in the top right-hand corner, web gallery 1, in-app gallery 1, which means the phone in-app gallery has a video, the web gallery online has a video. Great. Now, if you have a sharing station, an iPad, maybe this thing hasn't communicated via Bluetooth or whatever from the phone to the iPad. On the iPad, not on the phone, never on the phone do we click online sync. There's just no reason to do it, right? But on the iPad, actually, I feel like they should take this online sync off for the phone. But anyway, on the iPad, if you click online sync, you'll see it says pending 0 downloads. If this was the iPad and that one video wasn't in the gallery yet, it will say pending 1. And dependent on how strong your Wi-Fi connection is, it will begin to pull everything from the web gallery. So to communicate that, and I don't know, yeah, I should have actually made a slide that demonstrates this graphically, but phone sends videos to the website. Website, once online sync is selected from the iPad, website sends videos to the iPad. So that's how that works. If you decide to go with the online sync option, in my experience, unless I've only had one venue that Marie and I did, I think it was an XO marriage. You said it was just like seamless online sync. But yeah, if the venue doesn't have like really good Wi-Fi, the online sync can take a pretty long time too. So at that point, I'm just sharing from the phone, the in-app gallery. And so going to hop back to our presentation. So in closing, not closing of the presentation, but like closing out the actual event app. Who we lose, Rashad? Okay. Closing out the event. There's a queue that we just walked through. We looked at the difference between the web and the app gallery. You just want to make sure that those match. So again, making sure that everything that's in the app is in the web. If it says app 31, make sure it says web 31. All right. And then text and emails. I made this point earlier that in the iPad, in the sharing station, you'll need to make sure that it says that it's connected to Wi-Fi. Can y'all see the phone? Okay. You'll need to make sure that your iPad is connected to Wi-Fi in order to make sure that these send out. But imagine that this is not a phone. This is the iPad for the sharing station, okay? When you go to the gallery, or I'm sorry, not the gallery. When you go to the settings, and then the queue, if you're on the iPad, you'll see on the left-hand side these same buttons: send out queue, send out SMS, send out emails, re-upload all files, show done. Do not worry about the show done, yes or no. You can just leave that alone. But to explain the rest, send out queue means everything that's on the device that I'm using, send it out to the website. Send out SMS means the same thing. If you click this button on the iPad, that's the device that people actually put their number in on, right? So when you send out SMS, it should be from the iPad. If you send out SMS from the phone, well, there's no number typed into the phone. So send out SMS and email, same deal. That should be done from the iPad. And that iPad will need to be connected to Wi-Fi in order to send those out. And then re-uploading all the files is exactly that. It's re-uploading everything from the app to the web gallery. It's essentially the same thing as send out queue. The only difference is the queue is based on what has been downloaded to the web or not. Re-upload is like, hey, let's just send everything out. And so that is that. Thumbs up if that makes sense in terms of the sharing station. Sweet, Jaleesa, kind of, maybe not. Do I need to explain? Did that make sense, Jaleesa?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure all hearts and minds are clear. All right. So once this is done, the reason I showed you guys the queue, you guys will likely never have to close an event unless you have a double back where, you know, Jaleesa, I gave you an air and you got a booth on Friday and Saturday night, right? I'm not going to make you drive back up here to, you know, switch gear and all of that. I'm going to say, hey, why don't you go ahead and switch the events out? You know, just make sure you go through the processes, right? And so you'll make sure that queue is all set, all uploaded to the online web. And the reason that's important, guys, is because we share that web gallery with our clients. Number 6 is what that's about. And so if that isn't done, then we essentially delete the videos from their web gallery. Make sure all the texts and emails go out because we will get an email from the client. My aunt said that she shot a video and she texted to herself and she never got it. I've gotten that a few times. But then once you've done that, you can use the same QR code that you use to activate the event to close the event. And so I'm going to demonstrate that really quickly and get us up out of here. So going back to screen share of the phone, whenever it pops up, y'all give me a thumbs up. Boom. All right, so this is the QR code for that same event. You're going to go to the hamburger and close event. It's going to ask you to confirm, are you sure you want to close the event? So you'll scan that QR code, screen goes green. You'll notice
It's not showing it.
it's not showing my phone.
It's stuck again. Okay, now it's popping up. I guess it's just going slow.
Okay, let me do that one more time. It's probably because I'm scanning on another page. Let me do it one more time. All right, so actually, I think I took a screenshot of that QR. So I'll just do it from here. Yeah. No, that's not the right one. Can you guys still see the phone screen? Cool. All right, so settings, queue. Oh, sorry, not queue. Settings, close event. You guys still see everything? It went away. Okay. I'm just going to screenshot our QR code. Boom. All right. Okay. I don't know why it keeps pausing that. Baby, come back. All right. So I'm trying to do this quickly. So all right, you guys can see the phone screen. Can you still see the, once I click close event, can you see that confirmation? Okay.
Yes.
So once you click that confirmation, it's going to ask you to scan a QR code. If I pick up this QR, you'll notice it said red, nah, that ain't the right one, right? So we're going to go here. Still not the right one. That's what we want. Bro, B, come on now. Goodness. That's annoying. All right. Do we have the screen? Can y'all see my screen now? Cool.
Oh, it says close
Oh,
event.
okay. So now when I scan the QR code, it goes green. You'll see before you close the event, you have like all these options. The big thing is from the top, web gallery is one, in-app gallery is one, you're good. If not, you can manage the queue to make sure you upload everything. You'll see in the middle, it says done. What that's been doing is uploading like event results, like all the analytics and stuff in the background. This delete photos and videos from device. Don't worry about that, because just as a backup, just leave the videos on the phone, unless you have like a bajillion, like I think both of the phones are like 64 gigs. You end up in a situation where it's like, yo, we can't keep all the videos from the last event on the phone in order to do the second one. Then yeah, go ahead and delete all of the videos and photos from the device. This only deletes the photos and videos that were captured during, from TouchPics, right? From this particular event. And then you want to make sure Dropbox is selected. Again, that adds all the original clips to the cloud. And then you're going to hit continue. And it's going to again ask you, hey, do you want to delete all the videos? I'm going to click yes, delete. And that's going to clean my phone storage up. I also like to go back into the phone and like go into the photos and say, yo, by the way, that's not a nude from my wife. That's my baby with hives. So I don't know why I just felt the need to give that disclaimer. But anyway, I go to recently deleted. And then I will just like clear all of these, to make space on my phone. So delete all, and that will give me more space on my phone. Cool. Any questions? Cool. All right. So lastly, we don't really have a ton of announcements, I don't think. Oh, Marie. Oh, I'm sorry. Before you do that, emailing, this is very, very quick, actually. I just like didn't even show the whole slideshow. But when it comes to sharing the gallery, it's very simple. We're just going to the website, finding a URL from TouchPics. Damn, if I can find it. Okay, that's just. I really wanted to show, especially you, Vanessa. I want to make sure I show everybody kind of the back end of it. So this is the same event we just created, that one video we shot. Right up here where it says public URL. You won't share this link, because this link is, what's up, Dane? Oh, you can't see anything? I don't know why it stopped sharing randomly. That's so weird. How about now? Okay, cool. So let me go back to the homepage, show you guys how I got here. Go to my account. go to events. This is the testosterone event that we just made. Gonna go to gallery. And right here, the public URL, that's what's going out to the public. Really, that's just what's going out to the client. I usually don't share the public URL. Marie and I have discussed making QR codes out of the public URL and just sharing this with the guests. Like whenever things get super busy, they can just go to the gallery and find theirs themselves. But you know, anyway, this is the link that you'll share. You'll click on that and you'll share that link, copy and paste it. And I just want to show you guys that so that those of you who are considering, again, Vanessa, what software you might want to use for your own business, you know, that's kind of how you would go about doing that. But it's also a great time to, when you're emailing that link to clients, letting them know, hey, thank you so much for your business. Please leave us a review. So I almost always leave our Google review link there as well. I try to get that link out to our clients within 24 hours of the event. Sometimes when it's a large corporate event, they want to see the videos during the event so that they can be like sharing, and we want them to do that, especially when we put our logo on it. So, you know, I'm pretty fast about getting the gallery to them. And I say that because in the event that you have, you know, a back-to-back schedule, like you're going to do a Friday and a Saturday, it's critical that we get this process done so that I can turn around and get the gallery to the clients, because they do make sure they email me the next day. How can I get my video? So yeah, that is that. Someone had a question. Oh, Dame, I see your question. When you close and send a text at the end, will it resend all the texts and emails that were previously sent as well? No, when you close, if you close the event, then the event is done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but at the end of the night, you were saying for us to make sure that we resend or what was it? Send text or send emails. I think that was like before you close up to make sure everybody receives their stuff, right?
Yes, that's from the
So,
that's from the iPad. You mean?
yes. And I was just checking this, make sure that once you do that, it doesn't resend the ones that were already sent. It just sends the ones that have not been sent out at that time.
Correct. Yeah, it'll send out the ones that haven't been sent. And honestly, if it resends it again, like, it's not a big deal. But yeah. Anyone else have any questions about anything? Cool. I know that was like a long course. I don't think I have any other announcements. Assignments and things are still coming, so y'all be on the lookout. Did anyone have any questions about last meeting, like how to find your assignments? I honestly, all of y'all are real dope about the assignments on DJ Event Planner and responding to them, so I'm pretty sure y'all are good there. Yeah, if y'all don't have any other questions for me, then I will let y'all go to a good evening. All hearts and minds clear. God's still good all the time. All the time, God is good. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate y'all. I say it all the time, and I'm gonna continue to say it. Thank y'all so much for being great, and I will see y'all later.